It's Basharatullah here. Our today's topic is plagiarism. Before understanding plagiarism, we have to understand it from several ways. First of all, we have to know what is plagiarism. Okay, soon as we get to know that what's plagiarism, then we are going to move towards its branches, its kinds. Okay, first of all, let me elaborate what's plagiarism. When we talk about plagiarism, that in simple words, if I say that presenting another words in your own words without mentioning his name or without quoting him is known as plagiarism. And apart from this, plagiarism is an act of stealing. It's a robbery. Okay, if someone steals the work of somebody else and put it on his own name, that all comes into the category of plagiarism. Now here the question arises, how to avoid plagiarism? This is the most important question. Okay, in first part I cleared what is plagiarism, how people to plagiarize. Then I will be telling you that, okay, let me avoid this phase first, that how to avoid plagiarism. First of all, let me aware you about the types of plagiarism. Basically there are two types of plagiarism. One is intentional plagiarism and second is unintentional plagiarism. If you talk about intentional plagiarism are all those things. Suppose if you are taking somebody else's work from internet and put it on your own name, that's called intentional plagiarism. And along with it, copying another essay or article or a small part from his article, then put it on your own name, this again intentional plagiarism. Apart from this, maybe most of the time some student steals the work of his friend or copy it on his own name without giving the credit or without mentioning his name. These all comes in the intentional plagiarism. Okay, and similarly the fourth one in intentional plagiarism, this is buying or borrowing papers. Now come towards the second one, unintentional plagiarism. If we talk about unintentional plagiarism, there is first of all poorly or careless paraphrasing. Whenever you or try to avoid plagiarism, okay, you paraphrase it. So if someone paraphrases it poorly or unintentional, then these are called not properly, not precisely. These are all comes in the category of unintentional plagiarism. Or you change few words, few sentences or few structure, but not the complete sentence. That's all are count in the unintentional plagiarism. Now come towards quoting poorly or excessively, or we do not cite the work of the writer, or most of the time we repeat the words. These all are come in the category of unintentional plagiarism. Now let me come towards the second part, which is the most important portion, that's how to avoid plagiarism. Here the question arises, there are almost 30 things which help us, which assist us to avoid plagiarism. The first thing is quoting. Suppose if you are taking the work of somebody else and you are mentioning his name, that is, it has been said by blah blah, or it has been said by Peter, whosoever is the name, you just mention his name, this come quoting. Okay, you quote that specific person. Apart from that, the second portion, the second technique to avoid plagiarism is paraphrasing. Now read the material and predict it your own voice, but don't change it. Read the material, predict it in your own word, but don't change the real idea. Just change few words, few structures, and paraphrase it in your own words. This comes in the paraphrasing. This is the most important portion, or the most important segment, which assists us in avoiding plagiarism. Now come towards the third one, citation. It's known as citation. It's the one of the vital one. When we talk about citation, whatsoever type of work you do, you mention the name in the last. Suppose, for example, according to, or he said, like such words you have to use. Now let me come towards the, let me aware you about the categories of the plagiarism. First of all, if we talk about the categories, there are almost 5 categories of plagiarism. The first one is plagiarism of words. There are a lot of writers who borrow or who copy the words of another writer, who do not proper paraphrase it. That copying the words of another writer comes in the categories of plagiarism. Okay, now come towards the second one. Second is paraphrasing of plagiarism of structure. Paraphrasing another words by changing sentence structure or words choice with citations. Paraphrasing original sentence with acknowledgement with science. Or similarly, we are having another one, that's plagiarism of ideas. Reporting another's ideas as your own without reporting another's idea as your own without giving the person credit. Submit the paper without citing or incorrectly citing another's idea. Means most of the time we copy the idea of the other of another's writer into our own voice. And then comes the fourth one, this plagiarism of authorship. When we talk about the plagiarism of authorship, it means to submit a paper of your friend or from internet or from another source on your own name. Suppose it has been written by another writer and you submit it on your own name. And then the fifth one is plagiarism of self. Yeah, it happens. Most of the students plagiarize himself. Suppose in one assignment, if he did some work and on the second time he copy his work in another assignment, that's called plagiarism of self. We have to avoid this one as well, because this plagiarism puts hindrances in our struggle, in the path of prosperity. It has very better inconveniences or consequences. Plagiarism had a lot of consequences. We receiving zero on assignments most of the time, or we fail the course, and it stops our growth rate. We do not further improve ourselves. That's all about plagiarism. Okay, hope you enjoyed the topic. Okay, establish and stay inspired.